Mortgage stress will continue. Let's have a look. Hello everyone, Florian here, and welcome to another episode of HeiseSays. Grab your stein of coffee, your hashtag recession-proof instant, or your hashtag not sponsored cheap coffee from a machine, which I don't have, and let's have a look at an article I want to talk about regarding, well, the interest rate target from the Reserve Bank. Now, this is from 9 News, written by Adam Vidler. ANZ pushes back next predicted interest rate cuts to 2026. Now, there's a few things we should look at here. Let's bring this guy up over here. This is the RBA rate tracker. This is what the market is predicting will happen with the cash rate target. Now, the RBA doesn't set the cash rate for the banks. It sets the target and the amount of money it lends to the banks. Essentially, it's setting the cash rate. And, well, on the 2nd of October, a decrease to 3.35%. Was it 44%? No change, 56%. And we can see the percent dropping of a expected change to the cash rate target now. It's getting down lower and lower and lower. If we come over here, this is the RBA website. Let's drag over here and we can see the cash rate target is now at 3.6%. Now, the only reason this cash rate feels high is a psychological trick, a marketing trick. We've been anchored. We've been anchored at a lower price. You'll find often people will try and anchor you at a higher price in negotiation, so then you can meet somewhere in the middle. It happened to me recently. Some gentleman was trying to anchor me at a very high price to get 3 scrub pine things removed from the corner of my site. And they were big trees. Been there a long time, but they were right on the boundary. They were not doing anything for shade for the actual housing around here, and it was dropping rubbish everywhere. So we had to get rid of them. And I had one guy who's trying to sell me, $6,000 per tree. There, 3 here. 16 grand. And then he kept, I said, oh, okay, mate, yeah, sure. And I'll have a, bit of back and forth. And so let me think about it, because I was shopping around, because it was an insane amount. And then he kept calling me, 12 grand, or this, sending me texts and all of these things. He was trying to psychologically manipulate me by anchoring me at a higher price, so he was doing me a deal at a lower price. Now, often when you learn these tricks, you can see through them quite easily. Sometimes you can't. And this is what's happening here. We've been anchored at a 0.1% cash rate target, which is completely insane. That is not a normal cash rate. This here is an emergency cash rate. Everything from here going down has been juicing up the market since the GFC. Funny that. And our growth per capita, our GDP growth per capita, has been below trend for pretty much all this period. Funny that as well. I wonder why housing has just gone crazy, for instance here. But this here, look at it. This is a normal cash rate target around here, around 5%, hovering around, where the point where you can actually save money in a bank and earn some interest from it. Isn't that a novel concept that we have there? Now, people are hoping for a decrease in the rate. We're seeing article after article, like this one, about interest rate predictions because mortgage stress is high. ANZ has become the third of the big 4 banks to strike down predictions of another cut to interest rates in 2025. The bank now expects the next rate cut to come in 26 in a blow for mortgage holders. But even if the rates do cut, guys, we're never going to see this. Hopefully, we will never encounter such a dangerous situation in our lives again where they feel it is necessary to cut the cash rate target to 0.1%. Now, remember when this was going on? And media will play everything up. There were article after article where the banks were preparing for negative interest rates. People were expecting negative interest rates to appear. There was precedent set in other countries around the world of negative rates. And people made financial decisions and borrowing decisions based on the headlines from those articles. Now, for the regulars of this channel, we know that was rubbish because we were watching Senate committee hearings with the RBA governor who frankly told the senators, no, it's not going to happen. They're looking at ensuring they've got the capacity for it. They're modeling huge crashes in property prices, but they're not going to go to negative rates because they found it actually has the opposite effect. Because remember, they want to keep money moving. They want to keep the economy stimulated. And they found with negative rates, it did the opposite because people thought, oh, well, I've got to keep saving more. I've got to keep saving more to make up for the loss in interest. And, it benefited people on a mortgage. Some of them even got money back for having a mortgage, which just shows you how screwed up the European Union was a few years ago. Negative rates are gone now, aren't they? Let me know in the comments if negative rates still exist. But I remember people were making decisions based on that. And this is why I locked in at that point. I knew we were never going to see lower than that. And I had a nice few years of very low rates. And I know other viewers of the channel did as well. So we're seeing talk of a decline in the cash rate from what I would argue is a normal area to be in. What we have now is a normal rate where you can actually put money in a bank and it doesn't evaporate as fast as possible. But the reason for this is, and I want to bring up, I asked Copilot, and Copilot's great at summarizing other information, or it's essentially just a glorified web search now. And if we look at this one here, so it has some key statistics. So mid to late 2025, mortgage stress in Australia has reached record levels, with several sources reporting alarming figures. 1.49 million to 1.57 million Australians are currently at risk of mortgage stress, representing 28.4% to 30.3% of mortgage holders. Now, that's from Roy Morgan. Now, the next one is the more worrying figure. This is the one I really consider. Because the at risk of mortgage stress, you're not in mortgage stress, you're at risk of going in mortgage stress. Could just be a slow month, could just be a good month. I'm not too worried about that one. This is the over 1 million mortgage holders are considered extremely at risk, meaning even interest-only payments exceed a sustainable portion of their income. Okay? Now, we also have to realize what is considered a sustainable portion of income when we're looking at some of these arguments here. This is from MPA. And what's your rule of thumb? A third of your income. Now, that's during the boomer times. And when times are good, when you only need to spend a third of your income on your mortgage or on your rent. Now you have people who are spending up to 70% of their income on their rent. So a mortgage where you're extremely at risk because, maybe you're paying 50% of your income on your mortgage, it's not going to hit the same as in previous generations. So I want to see how this will play out moving forward. While it sounds scary, we need to look at it with a bit of skepticism because times have changed, sadly. Our quality of life is going down. In some ways it is, some ways it's better. Finder, and I don't know how much I trust them, 40% of mortgage holders, around 1.4 million households, are in mortgage distress, with 13% missing one or more repayments in the past 6 months. And what I should put a poll on my channel. I might do that after I record the video, and we'll follow it up later. How many people have missed a mortgage repayment in the past 6 months? Now, I know that's going to be limited to the viewers of the HeiseSays channel, and we've got a certain demographic, majority male, majority 30 plus, a lot of professionals, a lot of tradies. So probably not. I'd be shocked if we hit the same 40%, but maybe. So that's concerning. The number of households falling behind on repayments has increased in every state and territory according to S&P Global. Okay, from 9 years. Now, yeah, sure it has, but you've got to look at the base that you're coming off. If you're coming off a very low base of people not missing repayments, then it's going to look scary. There's always going to be some people that are in trouble. There's always going to be some people that are struggling. That'll never change. In all the years of discussing news on YouTube, I've noticed that. And they'll play up the stereotypes. They'll play up the people who are struggling. Let's jump back here with that in mind. In the past 8 days, 3 of the major banks have changed their economic forecasts on the cash rate shifting the next anticipated RBA cut from November to next year. Now, I mean, we just received a cut on our mortgage. I'm now sitting on a variable one. I didn't do anything to my repayments. How many? I would bet the majority of the viewers of this channel, at least, will receive an interest rate cut and will not do anything to their repayments. They'll just say, oh, fantastic, I'll pay it off a little bit faster, or I'll build up that little bit extra reserve in the redraw or in the offset account or whatever you're doing. ANZ and Commonwealth both expect cuts to come in February, while the NAB anticipates a wait until May. All three banks expect just one more cut in the cycle. So they're arguing that we're going to hit 3.35 and then we'll... I mean, honestly, that could be the outcome that we want. I don't want to see the economy goes so bad that rates have to fall even more. It's going to overheat the housing market even more. It's going to exacerbate the rental crisis even more. It's going to cause more problems. You don't want rates to go low. Some people are going to be doing it tough. That's just a part of life. We all go through periods of plenty and periods of bleakness. That's a part of life, and you learn to deal with it. Some people may have pushed themselves too far with their housing that they've bought, but it's not necessarily the end of the world. They'll find ways to make it work. This is why when I hear all the doom and gloom, in Australia, the average Aussie is going to do exactly what they can to stay in their house. They're going to do everything because you don't want to take that dip class from being a homeowner to a home renter. We can't have that. There's a stigma associated with that. In egalitarian Australia, laid back my ass. The growing uncertainty around further cuts this year has prompted a warning to borrowers to be on a lookout for competitive rates. Okay, here's the spin to tell you to shop around for your rates. Yeah, okay, you know what? I'm going to do two polls. I'm going to do one where we see how many people are in mortgage distress on the channel, or when was the last time you picked up the phone, rang your bank, and tried to get a better deal. I have to admit, I've been pretty lazy the last year. I haven't done it myself. Maybe I should. And I'll report back, although I don't think I'm a very very lucrative client for the bank, unfortunately. They're trying to push credit cards onto me, but I've discovered Dave Ramsey, none of that crap. He said cashback deals were not as abundant as they were at their 2023 peak, were still available from multiple lenders. Frequent flyer points have also been offered with loans from multiple banks. Now, is that I don't understand. Is that worth it, guys? You have the freedom to pick a flight anyway. So I've got to do a business trip to Longreach. Can I get a flight if I need it? Or do I just need to go on their special routes at their special times? The closest thing I probably get is using the Edge browser, getting a rewarded cash from Microsoft, and I just turn it into Amazon money. I wish I could turn it into Steam money. But anyway, I mean, should you really be making a decision on where you get your mortgage based on frequent flyer points? It's like that barter card dollar crap. I never understood that either. I went to a business networking event, all businesses coming together, and the local one here, so in the real Chinatown of Brisbane, and the lady had these barter card people there, and they were singing the praises of it. Oh, you can use it to buy all your stationery, all your stuff from other businesses, other members in the barter card ecosystem. But I'm asking, well, you still have to pay tax on it, don't you? So I have to get this bullshit fake money to buy stuff from a limited range of suppliers. I can't go to office work, so it'll probably cost more. And then I have to pay tax on this bullshit fake money with real money. And you want me to pay you in real money to be part of your stupid club. So I didn't understand it. Maybe let me know in the comments if you make in bank with frequent flyer points, or if it's just a bonus on the side you get for doing what you would do anyway. Hence Edge browser and my Amazon cards. However, with any upfront sweetener, borrowers should remember free flights and cold hard cash may sound appealing, but the real saving typically comes from securing a lower rate, particularly on larger loans, especially if you're unlikely to refinance regularly. So there we have it, guys. So let's finish up by having a bit of a chat about this one. So it looks like all the banks are pushing back their rate cut prediction. Not until 2026. There's going to be some time until we get that cut. There's going to be a lot of people under mortgage stress that are just going to have to push it out. This is probably going to become the new norm. If we've seen it for this long and there haven't been drastic changes or foreclosures, it should be okay. What do you reckon, everyone? Let me know your thoughts and opinions in the comments. I'll see you next time. Bye for now.